Welcome in episode 72, Ramie and Drew. I am Ramie Mackloff. That is Drew Flaggy. We're a couple Milwaukee comedians. We talk about sports and whatever other bullshit might come to mind. We are live right now on Facebook and YouTube. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple. Like, rate, review, tell a friend, do all the things to help us grow this thing. We come to you on, January 10th, right around 9:30 p.m. Central Time.
January?
December 10th, right around 9:30 p.m. Central Time. I'm not even the one who's been drinking tonight. That'd be Drew Flaggy. You were drinking, right? You told me you were coming home from the
Yeah,
bar.
I mean, I had like a beer per quarter.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Dude, I am such a
4 beers.
lightweight. We'll get into the Bucks game in a second. I'm such a lightweight. We were out for drinks a couple of weeks ago, you and I, with some other acquaintances, and I had
fiance. It was with your fiance.
no. She wasn't there that night. At Boone Crockett.
I thought you were talking about when we went to the. Well, whatever.
Oh, there was that too. Yeah, there was that too.
We watched the Bucks game like 2 weeks ago.
No, that night I was fine, but I had two old fashions, and man, I was pretty floored.
Yeah, I had 4 Guinnesses. Get Guineas.
4 Guinnesses would have me on my ass, dude. I can't drink anymore. I cannot drink anymore. I don't know if it's getting old. I don't know if I'm just out of practice because I don't really drink that much. But I can't drink anymore, Drew. Like at all.
I'm the one that lost all the weight.
I know. I don't understand. I cannot drink. I've lost a taste for blood.
Not only can I drink, I eat so much more sugar now than I used to. Dude, I was eating ice cream just out of the container the other day. Just like, I mean, I live by myself, so like it doesn't matter. But like,
sure, yeah.
I mean, I'm the only one touching that ice cream, anyways. But like,
I do. Dude,
like, I was eating that stuff. Like, I got some bad news, and the Bucks won that day.
I've heard people who quit drinking. You're not quitting drinking, are you?
No, I just told you I drank a beer a quarter today.
Yeah, that's true. I've heard people who quit drinking and they will resort to sugar, like alcohol, because that's basically what's in, or they resort to sugar as a replacement for alcohol, and especially for some reason ice cream. I remember hearing Joe Namath on the Howard Stern show talking about when he quit drinking, and he said he would go through like a half gallon of ice cream like every night, like after dinner, like every night he would just sit down with a spoon and a half gallon of ice cream because alcohol has sugar in it, and I think it just kind of it feeds that beast without the intoxication.
I just want sugar now. Like I'm not like a sweets person. Like I don't know. Like I don't. And now it's like I
love sweets.
There are days where I'm just like, man, a fucking McDonald's shake is what's up. Like it's like not even good sweets.
I just had some chocolate cake.
I
had some chocolate cake right before we started this thing.
I live by 3 places that have. I live between, like, you could like triangulate this. Like I live between like a Wendy's and like Oscars and Cops. Like you could triangulate all of like where I am, and like I have like within the same amount of distance, like a Wendy's, Oscars, Cops. Like I got plenty of places, like, and I'm like, dude, a McDonald's shake is fire. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't have.
Speaking of sweets, and I swear, no, McDonald's shakes are good. I mean, they're not good, but they're good. You know what? If that makes any sense, they're not good, but they're good. Speaking of sweets, though, Drew, tonight, and I was pretty sure this was going to be the case, but it was made official. And I swear, we're going to talk about the Bucks 114-109 win against Orlando in the NBA Emirates Cup to move to the semifinals. But I today was officially, I'm getting married, as you know, and I told her, I was like, I will have whatever input is I am asked to have, and I will do whatever I'm asked to do, like delegate. You know what I mean? I don't really care what we do at this thing, as long as we have a good time, as long as you have a good time. And I was put in charge of cake today, Drew. I was put in charge of getting the cake, which I'm pretty excited about. Pretty fired up. Yeah.
So that means like I have a say in the cake too.
No, how did what math led you to that?
Well, because I already said that if we don't find me a date for your wedding,
Uh-huh.
I'm making a best man speech. I'm well aware that I'm not the best man, but I will make a speech. And it's going to be very heavy on basketball parlays. Like I'm going to pull out my underdog and I'm going to be like, you guys think I should bet on Luka for over on threes? And a lot of it. There's going to be a lot of putting my hand on your shoulder being like, this guy doesn't help me with my
at the reception.
parlay.
At the reception, you can do that. I don't care. Not at the actual wedding.
There's going to be a lot of like betting on white basketball players at your wedding. Like that's what's going to happen if we don't find me a date to just rein my bullshit in.
I'm thinking cupcake tower rather than an actual like a classic cake. I'm thinking cupcake tower.
See, I think you're going too off script on that one.
Why do you say that?
Well, how many different flavored cupcakes are you getting here?
That's the advantage of the cupcake tower is you can go with like, I don't know, 3-4 different kinds of cake. You could go like chocolate, red velvet, carrot. And then throw in a wild card.
Are you insane? You gotta listen. The wedding cake's supposed to be like angel food with raspberry jam.
Fuck that. I don't even like that.
That sucks. But like,
yeah, it's got to be something I like.
And the cake's gonna be like a little bit cold for some reason. It's just people do weird shit. Like it's got to pair nicely with whatever kind of little lump of steak and asparagus they give you, like, or lemon, like whatever.
No, it's gonna be.
What are we doing for the food at this wedding?
It's gonna be. It's a brunch wedding, Drew.
What?
It's a brunch wedding.
How much wedding night sex do you think you're gonna have? You're fucking so old. You're sundowning your wedding. You're like the Joe Biden of weddings.
It's not my choice.
Oh my god! You have to wear hokas. Like
it's I might. The shoe attire. Well, all my attire is up for debate as well. But yeah, I'm in charge of cake, and I know it is a brunch wedding. That wasn't my call, but I'm good with it. I'm good with whatever, dude.
Brunch wedding. So like omelets.
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I just know it's brunch. I don't want to say where. You know what? I'm gonna text you where.
We're gonna have a pancake breakfast. It's like it's a Boy Scout. The Boy Scouts are putting this on.
No, it's a brunch wedding, and then the reception is at a bar literally right next door. Like we walk out of one place and we'll walk right into the next place and turn on the music and get crazy. Are you there?
I'm waiting. You said you're gonna text me the place. I'm waiting.
Yeah, I'm doing it right now. There we go. You should be getting that right.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah. So they got good brunch.
Yeah, there's no TVs at the second place though.
And that's a good bar. What do we need TVs for?
Well, so you want me talking to people at your wedding? You don't want me fixated on whatever sports might be happening, like whatever kind of like Russian team fighting I could watch?
Well, there's gonna be a Brewers game on a Saturday afternoon. You just can't miss.
Well, Willy Adames isn't here anymore, so
yeah. How do you feel about that?
I got
since you brought it up, and then we'll transition to Bucks. But that was a good transition into sports. How you feeling about Willie? He's a giant, huh?
Makes me kind of sad, but at least he didn't go to a team that I hate. I guess like I'm indifferent towards the Giants. I don't know. The Giants were cool, back when they had Lincecum and Matt Cain and everybody else that was on that team. Like Cody Ross was World Series MVP. That was pretty cool. That just a fucking pinch hitter role player guy was the World Series MVP. Like I don't know,
dude. It just blows my mind that they're so okay with letting guys walk or trading guys and just throwing their hands up and going, well, we can't pay them, and you can. Like Mark Antanasio is a billionaire.
We did get another pick though because
I know
qualifying options. So like there were things like Willie did kind of throw us a bone, I guess. Like I don't know. Like I knew he wasn't coming back. I'm happy that we could rip the Band-Aid off instead of dragging this out all winter long and being like, are we at him. Like everybody knew he was gonna go. It sucks, but like you can't outbid some of these fucking teams. I mean, like when it's disgusting when you look at like what the Mets were able to do to destroy Juan Soto's career now by playing for the fucking Mets. But like, it's just you know what I said to somebody like I had an argument with a guy that I work with that he was talking about how no person is worth that amount of money. And I'm like, to but like to these fan bases and to these owners, yes, so they are. And like I'm totally okay because it's not my money. I don't care. Like it's if you want to pay him all that money, but what they're actively doing now with by how much money they're just like throwing at these guys that like small market teams just cannot compete with this, and that every small market team is basically a feeder team for like 4 teams. It's going to be like the Mets, the Yankees, the Dodgers, and then I don't know, throw one other one in there. Like,
yeah, but I think saying they
the Cubs won't even make these kind of fucking crazy moves, which is like a few years ago. I'm like, the Cubs might actually throw that kind of coin at somebody and do something.
Yeah, but I don't think that's an indictment on like the state of the game and its finances. I think it's an indictment on these. Now, to a degree, it is like like New York and LA are going to be able to spend more money than other markets because
the Dodgers bought the best player in the world.
Yeah, I know.
And Freddie Freeman also is one of the best hitters in the world. So they bought him.
But acting like nobody else could have signed these guys is letting these owners off the hook. Like if you can afford to own a team, you can afford to pay guys. That's and I understand that the books might not balance on a year-to-year basis, but the way that these teams appreciate in value over the time that these owners own them, you're going to get your money back and then some. Mark Attanasio, this is going to sound crazy. Like you're upset about Willy Adames. Mark Attanasio could sign Juan Soto if he wanted. Sure. Mark Attanasio could pay Juan Soto that contract if he really wanted to. But a lot of these owners have just kind of thrown their hands up and gone, we can't do it. And everybody just kind of accepts that. And if the truth is that they can't, then they shouldn't own these teams. Like if you can't spend competitively, then you shouldn't be in that industry. And somebody who can spend competitively will gladly take that thing off your hands.
I mean, I've said before that Mark Attanasio treats this team like it's his fun little summer home that he gets to show all of his investor buddies and be like, well, I'm the one that has this neat little summer home, this little baseball team here. And he's like, but don't pay any attention to the guys who have the bigger house. Like, no. They are doing it wrong. And it's like, this is my quaint little $1 billion summer home that I have here. Oh, yeah. Oh, those guys are gross. The $3 billion summer home. Like that's what he does. And he's a fucking chotch. I don't really care. I think he's a slimy little fuck. And I don't like Mark Attanasio anyways. But also, like, I did say this to like the guy that I work with, where I was like, and I don't like to be the person who gloats at teams that get injuries. I don't wish this on the players, but the second that Juan Soto blows his ACL out, I'm laughing.
I'm not. I love that guy, dude. I like that guy.
You know what? I like Juan Soto. You know what? But he's getting paid regardless. This is guaranteed money. So you know what? Sit there in an air brace or whatever on your knee or for a year and a half. I really don't care. You blow your knee out running into a wall or something, making the extra effort on something like that, and now you got to sit there with a $725 million contract on the books. Good. Fuck you. The Mets deserve it. Like it's like you are making me actively root against you now. Instead of me being a Brewers fan, I am now a fan of everybody that is not you on the off chance that the Royals sweep you, the Guardians sweep you, the Brewers, obviously I want them to sweep everybody. But like the fucking White Sox, I hope hammer your ass. I will
say this. The White Sox aren't going to, but I will say this.
If it happens, it's funny. It's really funny. They could go win the next 6 World Series, and I'll be like, remember that time the White Sox swept you in July? That's funny.
It's
breeding resentment.
I get it.
Like, what do you say if you're a Mets fan? My team rules.
Yeah, you do. You're real happy. You're real happy right now.
No, yeah, you're real happy, but it's like, how do you even talk shit, or how do you even like kind of have like a fun rivalry with somebody when you're like, Well, it's like, no, you should hammer the Brewers. You should no hit us. You
Yeah,
should.
but it's still that does it. I can tell you right now, Drew. I can tell you right now because people. I'm a Cubs fan and Brewers fans. A good friend of ours, in particular, I'm not going to name any names. Will often if the Cubs come out on top in a series or whatever, or if they win the division back when they used to do that, the first thing they'll throw at me is, yeah, but look at your payroll and blah blah blah. And it doesn't that doesn't phase me at all. There are no trophies handed out for most wins per dollar. Like that's not a thing. And when you are a fan of a big market club, now I'm not a fan of the Mets who can sign a Juan Soto, and my team apparently also has given up on even calling about guys like that. But when you're a fan of a big market team and people try to throw that in your face of, yeah, but you spent more money to win championships, it rolls right off your back. It doesn't phase It doesn't phase them at all.
No, it's like there are certain words that need to start coming back. Like we got to start. It does phase some of these people now because it's very cozy, and like the R word is like a big one that I'm like, we're just bringing it back now. Like I'm starting to call these people this. Like I don't.
You're not the only one, but I don't know what that has to do with big market clubs and big market fans because not caring that you're going to laugh that they signed more money to win championships.
If I'm going to be trash and poverty and I can't afford shortstops, then I'm going to start talking low class and I'm going to start calling people R words for their stupid fucking hoity-toity. New York is a crime-infested shithole. Fuck them. How about that?
People say the same about Milwaukee, dude.
Yeah, but healthcare CEOs aren't getting shot here.
Hold on. Are you throwing that out there as a pro or a con? I'm not even sure.
I'm saying that the healthcare CEOs were able to walk the streets before Juan Soto signed in New York. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know if that's
Juan Soto killed that guy who made an algorithm so people died of cancer quicker or whatever it was. I don't know.
Maybe God bless Juan Soto. That's all I'm saying. It's just
not
maybe
God, because the Mets signed that. Wow. Talk about the Bucks.
Moving on to the Milwaukee Bucks.
Talking about nothing that matters.
They win tonight, and Drew it was the first of the knockout round in the NBA Emirates Cup, and the Bucks come out on top of the Orlando Magic 114-109, and they're headed to Vegas for the semifinals whenever that happens, and whoever they're going against. Because I don't really care about this thing, dude. I still don't care about this thing. I'm glad they won. Quite frankly, a little disappointed because it shouldn't have been that hard against that Orlando Magic team, but glad they won. I mean, it's good to win a regular season game.
Let me flip this.
Flip it.
Without Franz Wagner and without Paulo Banchero,
yeah,
they beat the Phoenix Suns on Sunday.
Okay.
Their defense is tough. Like those guys, like all of them, like they are. You know what I kind of noticed? They kind of play a similar style of basketball as the Miami Heat. Like they are tough defensively, and they grind you in the half court. Like they don't make a lot of mistakes with the ball. Jalen Suggs apparently is an all-star. That was crazy. I didn't know that. I'm glad I didn't take him on any of my parlays because I would have bet the unders. But holy shit, that guy was, dude. Like I don't know. Like they got a good young team, and they were one of the 4 teams I said were my most interesting teams coming into this season. That I was like curious what they were going to do. Were they going to regress or were they going to make a leap forward? And I mean, you would think that they would be regressing right now without Banchero and without Franz Wagner, but like they're still playing well and they still believe in the concept that their team has. Like they got a whole team concept there. Like they were tough defensively out the gate. Which
they do play good defense. They do play good defense. I'll give you that.
I can flip that though and say the last 3 games, and it's hard to criticize this, and people always, they get upset when you criticize one of our players. But like Giannis has made some pretty bad decisions with the ball, I think, early on. Well, like late in the game against Boston, that cost us. And then with him just the ball sticking and him trying to do too much, running through guys. I was surprised at how much the Orlando, like their front court, those guys don't move when Giannis runs into them. That was crazy that he couldn't overpower those guys down there. So like they have a good concept and like able to stop the ball, and like they got really good hands. I mean, Jalen Suggs has been stealing the ball constantly. Like that's one thing I've been noticing a lot is that he's always up there right now. Like the last couple of weeks of just steals. Like he's great defensively as a guard. The last two nights, the guy guarding like it was Dennis Schroeder, that fuck, and then tonight Suggs, they gave Damian Lillard a hell of a time. Like he could not get his threes that he wanted. Like he couldn't get his open looks. Like they were really contesting him and they were on his hip, and he had to pass the ball off a lot. So like our best two players, I would say, even though Giannis, he had 37 points tonight, I think.
I believe so.
It was like a struggle 37, it seemed like. He didn't get 37 easy.
Yeah.
Easiest
37 on 15 of 24 from the field.
The easiest point, yeah, so it's like a typical Giannis night, but like the easiest points Giannis got were from Middleton, honestly, like diming the ball to him, like down, like Middleton coming back and just what he adds to just Giannis's game is, I think it's invaluable.
Yeah, you can see that that's there right away, and we haven't. Well, we should spend more time talking about. We haven't talked since Chris Middleton has returned, so we should talk more about that later. But as far as this game goes, you're right about everything you're saying about Orlando. It's a good young roster, and you're right. They have some principles in place that especially for a young team, you need to win basketball games, and it starts with their defense. And I'm not saying that Franz Wagner and Paolo like are the only players they have on that roster, but they're the centerpieces. They're what it's all built around, and they're what makes it go. And for the Bucks, it really and especially Drew, and this is why I was telling you that I don't think that this in-season tournament really brings out the best in guys or matters really all that much to guys, at least not guys in this league who have accomplished as much as a Giannis and a Dame and other guys on this Bucks roster. Like that wasn't like if the Bucks are coming out like, yeah, we got to win this thing, they run right through this Orlando Magic team. Even for everything that you said, without their two best players and as young a roster as it is, if the Bucks really gave a shit about the NBA in-season tournament and like had that extra notch that they turn their game up to, you don't let this thing come down to the last minute against that Orlando Magic team.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there was a lot of struggles though in this game.
Dude, they had 15 offensive rebounds. They let Orlando get 15 offensive rebounds and turn the ball over 16 times.
Yeah, well, but again, other guys that did turn it on. I mean, Orlando wanted to win that game, clearly. Like, Suggs was pretty upset at the end of that game, like when they flashed to him. Orlando was taking it pretty damn seriously. And I think in response, a couple guys on our team did respond well. AJ Green, again, who's been constantly showing up big. He hit a bunch of big shots, down the stretch. Bobby Portis kept us in the game early on. Bobby was hitting everything. Like, and he was
hot. He finished what, 8 of 9?
Something like that. Yeah. I didn't look at his box score, but like, Bobby was great tonight. I would say like he kept us in the last two games when the offense was struggling a lot. Because I mean, everyone, like, there's still talks of like Bobby Portis being a guy who probably might get traded.
I don't think he does. He finished 9 of 11. I was wrong, with 10 rebounds, 22 points.
Yeah, I'm not. Bobby, it's crazy because like he can be one of the most frustrating players to watch, but also like he can be so vital to like the team's success. But like another one, Gary Trent Jr., I thought he played well tonight. Like,
yeah, he was solid.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, Taurean Prince struggled. Like the other night, Middleton huge late in the game.
I don't think Bobby's getting traded. I don't think Brook Lopez is getting traded. The way this season started, and
traded, but
I remember we talked after that Jim Ozarski article, and he was quoting Wes Edens in it, and we talked about this. The vibe that I got after that was like if they didn't turn things around from the slow start they got this season, everything around Giannis and Dame wasn't played. Not Giannis and Dame. They're not going to trade those guys unless those guys like force their way out. And I don't think that's happening anytime soon, especially with Giannis. But if they didn't turn it around, everything around Giannis and Dame was in play as far as trading those guys, moving them for pieces or draft picks and future assets to use those to put other guys around Giannis and Dame. But I think with them turning it around, now it's about, okay, what do we add to this core with the assets that we have? And I think Bobby is part of that core. I don't think he's going anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, he's not like, but he's the guy that would net you the biggest return if you needed something. Like if you really looked at, I guess Bobby's bench scoring is a big thing, but also his defense is still pretty bad. And then there are days where I'm like, you know, we let them get 15 offensive rebounds tonight. It's like Bobby's not part of that. That like where the rebounding is pretty sus once in a while with this team. We just like still tonight, I noticed like there are times we just do really dumb things, like just disorganized, kind of stupid, kind of like high risk, low reward type plays. Like Damian Lillard late in the game had just a really bad pass through the paint that was like a turnover, and that could have like we got a stop on the other end, but like that could have really been like a momentum shifter if they got like a transition dunk on that or something. Like we do some pretty dumb stuff as a team, and Dame doesn't normally do stuff like that, like the turnovers. Yeah, he might get the ball stripped, like trying to do a little too much in the paint or something, but I don't necessarily think that's dumb. But there are times where I'm like, Giannis has guys that are wide open, making themselves available, showing their hands, and Giannis will drive into 4 people.
Yeah.
And it's like he's still doing that when you have like weapons. You have Taurean Prince, who's leading the NBA in 3-point percentage. You have Gary Trent Jr., who's shooting again. You got Dame, who's brought here to score and shoot. And it's like, I guess even sometimes, you know, Brook, I don't love Brook taking 35-footers, but like if he's in the corner and stuff, like there are guys who are available when there are 4 bodies lined up on you. It's like you don't have to force that ball.
And I think the Bucks' main problem is they give their opponents too many extra possessions. Like if the Bucks could just end every game with the same number of shots as their opponent, they don't even have to get up more shots than their opponent, because I think they're that good a scoring team, and it starts with Giannis and Dame especially. But
I thought that was a joke.
But when you're giving up 15 offensive rebounds and you're turning the ball over 16 times, and you're right, like at least 6 of those 16 turnovers are just dumb shit. You know what I mean? It's not good defense or something like that. It's just dumb shit and not smart basketball. If they could clean up that stuff, and like I said, not give these teams these extra possessions, games like tonight against an Orlando Magic team missing their 2 best players are not as close as they were, and you're not trailing for as much of that game as the Bucks were tonight. I just looked it up. The Bucks will play the winner. There isn't a date yet for the semifinals in the NBA Emirates Cup. The Bucks play the winner of the Knicks and the Hawks, who will play tomorrow night in the semifinals in Vegas in a couple of weeks, I guess.
Tuesdays and Fridays are the Emirates Cup games. So
yeah,
I would assume it's Friday.
I thought I heard Brian Anderson say it's in a couple weeks, so I think maybe they take a week off.
In a couple weeks.
I think they might take a week off from, and there is no date. I'm looking at it right now on the ESPN app. There is no date for the semifinals yet. There is no exact date that they have listed here. So I don't know.
I would still say
I also really don't care. I really don't care about this in-season tournament, dude. This is America. We don't do don't do in-season tournaments, Drew. This isn't
what if we had
the Premier League or whatever bullshit.
What if we had like a big tournament at like the end of the season though? For like the teams, like they're like 16 teams who just played like really well. The whole season. They're like rewarded.
We could call it the playoffs.
It's like a season after the season. It's like
and then like the finals, we could call it like the finals.
The finales, yeah.
That would be, dude. I think we're onto something here.
Yeah,
I think we're really onto something here.
Like a big trophy, like probably a trophy with a basketball on it.
Let's say the Bucks win this thing. Should they hang a banner Everybody was laughing at the Lakers last year for hanging a banner. Should the Bucks hang a banner if they win this bullshit?
Yeah, I think you do it because
No, you don't.
yeah, I think you do it. I think the banner has to
That
not
was a
be
trap question, Drew. That was a trap
the
question. That
banner,
was a and you failed. You failed.
the banner doesn't go next to like the championship banners, like, and it's not the same size. Like that banner's got to go. You're gonna have a picture of the cup on it or something, and then you I don't know the
If
date.
you have nothing hanging in your rafters, if you're Oklahoma City or you're Utah or Toronto has a championship. If you're one of these teams, you're Orlando. You know what I mean? Fine, you're
Well,
desperate.
Orlando can't. They gotta wait for next year.
That is true. But if you're Indiana with no titles whatsoever, fine. You fill up your rafters with your in-season tournament banner. The Bucks have championships. The Lakers have championships. You don't clutter up your glorious rafters of retired numbers of greats and championships you've won and conferences you've won for an in-season tournament that they made up to get sponsorships.
I think what you do is you put it. I think you just let the Cream City Clash just hold the banner up every game. I think that's what you do. Like you let two people on the ends, just let them hold the banner, jump up and down with it, like when people are shooting free throws.
Fine.
I think that's what you do. Like, and you make it like a real mundane. Like, we don't really need this. Like,
yeah.
I think you do it because like the Lakers really made it a show because they're dumb as fuck and like they're annoying and like. And of course, like LeBron had to definitely like, be like part of my legacy. I think you put like the Milwaukee Bucks 2024 Emirates Cup in season tournament champions, put as many words on this fucking banner as possible. Like make it look like the end credits of a Marvel movie. Just have a ton of words on it. And then maybe get like a barbecue sauce stain on it or something. Like who even cares? And just be like, we don't really like this. Like
it's so funny. It's so funny to me that they when they won that in-season tournament last year, the Lakers, everybody was like, "Oh, this means something," and this is going to translate into the postseason. Like they have this, they have this playoff mentality already from playing and winning the in-season tournament. And by the end of the year, they were firing their head coach.
Dude, you know what's so much funnier? I do like the thing about like how Darvin Ham is like undefeated in like the in-season. And JJ Redick is just like so screwed right now.
Darvin Ham is the best coach in the history of the in-season tournament, quite frankly.
Dude, obviously, he's got a winning pedigree. It's pretty funny.
All right, we haven't talked about it till now, but yeah, Chris Middleton is he plays basketball. So he's back, sure.
That they call Chris Middleton, and I do like him. He is good at basketball.
He is good at basketball, and he's playing it. He's playing it now again.
He is out there, and I like the way that Doc's used him in the rotations where he comes in closing time. Like that's pretty cool. That like Doc is like saving his bullets on that one, and like when he ends up putting Middleton in there to like be part of like that closing unit. Middleton has had really good hands. He's knocked a lot of balls away and stuff. He's gotten a few steals. Like he's got like 3 or 4 steals like since coming back. Mm-hmm. But his shooting obviously is good from the mid-range. Shot's not exactly where it is like you want it to be like right now, but like he's getting there. He's still knocking down his open looks and stuff. He's taking quality looks. He's playing within himself. He's not trying to do too much.
He had 8 assists tonight. He only shot 2 shots. He went 0 for 2 from the field, but he had 8 assists tonight.
Dude, and I mean, what? 6 of them were to Giannis? Like, dude, he was feeding the beast. Like, it was crazy. I love it. Like, that's like what we were missing. Like, he's just, they always talk about him being such like a calming presence, but he is. Like, there was one play that he had where he got the ball up at the wing and he started just backing his guy down in the post and he kind of did like a little like a little shimmy shake on the dude and then Giannis cut and he just threw the ball right around the dude and just like right in Giannis's breadbasket and just Giannis dunked it. It was awesome. Like it was like it's like that's just a guy who can just look and knows where his dude's gonna be and like you just can't replicate those 12 years of him playing here like with like Giannis.
And I agree with you about the way that Doc is using him. If you have 20 minutes or 25 minutes of Chris Middleton, like make sure Make sure the last 8 are reserved for the end of a close game, should you be in
Yeah.
a close game. And if you're not in a close game, cool. Like then you can rest them and less wear and tear on those legs that have been such a problem here over the last few years. The goal is to have a healthy Chris Middleton and the best version of Chris Middleton that you can have come springtime and come the NBA playoffs. Like, if that means 20 minutes right now, then you get 8 of those minutes at the end of games.
Well, he's gonna start creeping his time up,
For sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Like back to backers and stuff. But like, man, it's just nice that he's like back out there, and the offense feels better when he's out there. I don't well, I mean, I guess you don't really have a choice right now because Doc did say that he wants the offense to look like having 2 of the big 3 out there at all times, like during the course of the game, just like rotating people in and out. There haven't been a lot of Dame and Chris minutes yet. It's been Dame sits as soon as Middleton comes in, and just that's to get those minutes of like Middleton, Giannis out there, and then Dame, and he'll be out there with Giannis or something again. But I want to see what the offense looks like going small with like Dame, Chris, maybe Gary Trent, Bobby, and like I don't know, Torian Prince or something.
You know what? Sorry.
Like, also, like, I will say, like, the other thing too, like the way that team is just watching how their trust completely, like it was like, it's like, okay, like they understood how good AJ Green could possibly be, but how they trust him in big moments to take big shots, and they look for him.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
No, they definitely trust him for those shots coming off the bench. And I think, and we talked about this last time, that's been one of the biggest and best changes for the Bucks is Doc embracing bigger roles for Green and obviously for Jackson stepping into the starting lineup. Not to say that Gary Trent Jr. and Torian Prince aren't going to have roles. It seems like Pat Connaughton's role has been reduced to most, and that's something we've been talking about for a long time. But I really think Doc, and I was starting to question Doc, man. I mean, there was a point where he had coached just as many games as Adrian Griffin as the Bucks head coach, and the record was not as good. I don't know where it's at now as far as his win percentage compared to Adrian Griffin's. And that is something that you have to look at, and you have to question when you make that change in the middle of last year, whether not that they shouldn't have fired Adrian Griffin, but should they have hired Doc? I think he is starting to figure out the minutes and the roles for this basketball team, and I think that's huge. And it's going to continue to evolve as you talked about, as Chris Middleton's minutes increase and go up.
Well, I think there is that. Like, they're going to need, obviously, this team can only be as good as what Middleton, Giannis, and Dame can do together. Yep. But like the big thing that I do think a lot about is like what they only played 6 total games or something like that last year. Like was it under Doc or like total? No, it had to be more than under Doc, but or yeah, it had to be like more than total, like 6 games, but under Doc. So it's like, I don't know. It's going to take a while to figure out. It obviously took a long time for Dame to figure out how to play with another superstar. And I still think Dame needs to be more ball dominant than like.
No, but you can see, and that was one of the thoughts that crossed my mind tonight watching the game. You can see that they're really, and this is something we talked about, and we were waiting for it to happen, and maybe we should. I mean, a lot of people didn't have patience for it, and I think we had more than most. But I think maybe we should have had a little patience about those two guys really figuring it out and unlocking it, Giannis and Dame, and playing that 2-man game with a real superstar. Not to take anything away from Chris and the role that he played in the year Giannis won an MVP or the year that Giannis won a championship or Drew Holiday or anybody else, but both of them are playing with a real superstar for the first time, and it can take a minute to sort of unlock that and figure out, who's going to play exactly what role at what moments in games, and you can see they're really starting to unlock that now.
Well, and I think it also did somewhat help that Giannis had to learn to get assists and get open and roll off of someone else that isn't Chris Middleton, where Middleton was 90% of the time going to defer to Giannis.
Yep.
Like, I hope that with Middleton being back, that Dame doesn't go back into like, all right, I don't have to shoot, because I want to see him shooting a lot. Like the other night against the Nets, what he took like 9 or 11 shots or something like that. Like I was like, that's not what I want to see Damian Lillard doing. Again, he was locked up. Dennis Schroeder gave him a bunch of problems, and he just couldn't get in a rhythm. Like he couldn't get his footing down, so he passed the ball a lot. Which I guess I would rather him. I would rather him pass the ball than take a bad shot. But like also there are times where I'm like, you might need to fight a little bit harder to get open.
Yeah,
but no, he's like I said, it's really tough for me to try to criticize Giannis and Dame because they're my favorite player 1A and favorite player 1B. But like, because I do still want to see the 70-point game out of Dame while he's in a Bucks uniform. I want to see him just go nuclear one night.
By the way, tonight he had what their last 9 points of the
Yeah.
game, if I remember correctly. So Dame time was in full effect to close that one out tonight. I looked it up, and it's Saturday. This Saturday will be the next cup game
that's
for the
goofy.
Bucks against the winner of the Hawks and the Knicks. Says it right there, Saturday, December 14th. So yeah, there's that. Both of the semifinals games will be on the 14th, and then the finals will be on Tuesday, December 17th.
Okay. Well, they're already.
So there's that. Drew, any football thoughts before we wrap this thing up? Both our teams lost this week. The new coach didn't help for the Bears, in case anybody thought it would. And the Packers lost in a kind of heartbreaking fashion to the Lions, who are just on a fucking roll, man.
The Lions are on a roll, but I think the Lions, they look a lot like a kind of team that like they were almost beaten. They should have lost to the Bears. They could have easily lost to the Packers. The Lions, to me, are a team that they are so bought into what Dan Campbell has them doing, and they're all rah-rah and all about this. They're not without their flaws. Like they're not. It's hard to say to a team that's 12-1 now or something.
They've won 11 straight, and yeah, they're 12-1. And
yeah.
dude, they have so many injuries. Like half their starting defense is hurt. They're missing guys on offense. They have so many injuries, and you're right. Like, and people are saying the same thing about the Chiefs, who it seems like every week are pulling the rabbit out of the hat. That like you look at them and you're like, how are they? Sometimes you're like, now there are weeks where Detroit is throwing up 52, 53 points and just destroying teams. But there are weeks where you're like, how are they even doing this? How are they pulling these wins out?
I think that Detroit, though, like my main thesis here is that they'll probably win the NFC North. Like I don't think the Vikings are going to catch them.
I think one more win and they clinch it, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So what I think they're going to do is they're going to do something really stupid in the playoffs, and they're going to end up losing a heartbreaker on just dumb shit they got away with.
Yeah.
I think that there's going to be one guy's going to be carrying a ball a little bit too high. It's going to get punched out, or something like that. I think that they're going to get a little overconfident on a team that they should absolutely roll, and they're going to do something really fucking stupid, and they're going to end up losing a game, and their season's going to be done.
Do you think the Packers are like a legit Super Bowl contender? I mean, they were playing away from the NFC Championship last year.
This year, no, because I think Jordan Love's been good, but some of the chances he takes, again, just like I said, dumb chances, like throwing into triple coverage. He's made some really bad decisions that have resulted in interceptions. I mean, throwing as many as he has this year is like I don't trust that. Like he's gonna develop. I think like this is a good 2 years of like building blocks for him. I would say maybe coming into next year and a little bit more with like our receivers drop some real stupid passes sometimes. Like there's shit that hit our guys in the hands. Like if you catch 50% of those balls, like if you just don't do dumb things, I would be saying something different. I think that maybe we can squeak out of the first round of the playoffs.
I think those last 9 games and that little playoff run last year and the contract he got in the offseason, I think it made people forget a little bit that Jordan Love was a first-year starter last year. And as good as it looked in the second half, there are still growing pains for that guy to go through in the NFL. And I know he was watching Aaron Rodgers for 3 years, and he wasn't a rookie last year, but it's still a first year starter, not now a second year starter. And you don't really have the NFL down from what I've heard from guys who played in the league. You don't really have the NFL down as a quarterback till at least year 3 or year 4, and you've had that those kind of snaps, like real live action game snaps to sort of figure everything out. So I'm with you that I think next year and the year after are the real window for the Packers to capitalize on Jordan Love if he takes those next steps and grows out of these things that we're talking about.
Well, and my thing is just the poor decisions where it's like the crazy thing is he's not making bad decisions under a lot of duress. Like there's not somebody breathing down his neck. Like there are just times where he just takes a chance to try to, hit like either Watson or Dobbs or something. And it's like there's like 3 guys like just around him. And it's like you trying to force that. Like there's too much air under the ball. Like I gave him a lot of like, I cut him a lot of slack when like he did it against the Vikings. He was coming back off the groin injury, or was it no? That was the knee or whatever. But he came back, off the knee injury. It's like, all right, he wasn't planting his front foot. He was kind of throwing off his back foot. There's a lot of air under the ball. Like okay, like maybe you should have sat an extra week, and then that ball flattens out. You got a little bit tighter spiral. You're throwing that ball. Maybe you get a little bit more snap on it. It's a little bit more accurate. Using your leg and everything. Now it's like no, some of those were bad decisions now. Like back at that, and we've watched him make some, and like I appreciate a guy that's got the balls to try to make those plays because again, you look like a hero if you make it work, but he's leading the league in interceptions. Like that's not like some of those, and some of them aren't his fault either. That's the thing. Like it's gonna be another year with these receivers, like understanding how he throws the ball. Where they should be and stuff. Like if they're athletes aren't dumb meatheads anymore, like the way that the stereotype used to be like, oh, me big,
especially not quarterbacks. No
quarterbacks. I don't think any of these guys are really all that stupid. Like
no, I don't think so either.
And stuff like these guys aren't mumbling dickheads like they used to be in like the 80s. Do an interview, like these. Nobody's this stupid anymore in this era. Like, well,
that when you're talking.
Stupid.
No, people are pretty stupid. People can be pretty dumb. When you're talking about Jordan Love and how careless he's been with the football at times this year, just to bring it back around to my football team and tie a bow on this whole thing before we wrap it up. Maybe the most impressive thing about Caleb Williams is how well he's protected the ball. Now he did have a fumble in that blowout against the 49ers on Sunday, but 7 straight games without an interception, and he's already set the rookie record and the all-time Bears record, not just for rookies, but the all-time Bears record for most attempts without an interception. So he apparently he said when he was going through the whole draft process that he one of the people that he modeled his game after was Aaron Rodgers, and I see it because he hates throwing an interception, and sometimes to a fault. Like sometimes he'll hold on to the ball and take a sack, and in really bad times he'll take a sack just to not let that thing fly with the off chance that a defender gets in the passing lane and picks it off. So, but I would rather, especially early on, I would rather both with Jordan Love and Caleb Williams that they're too careful with the ball and not turning it over.
I would actually like Jordan Love to be a little bit more careful with the ball. Also, like the face I just made, Luka Doncic looks like shit out here. Holy crap!
So happy about that,
dude. Like Luka.
Now, do you mean his game, or do you mean he's like looking extra doughy today?
Oh, I mean he looks thick, but like also like, dude, he's just standing here like a goober. Like he ain't even guarding anybody. His hands are just straight down. Like this guy. Holy shit. Like, I mean, OKC's going to win this game easy, but like, that's a heartbreaker. 973 going into the fourth.
Well, I'm going to go watch that game. And
dude,
I also got to pee. So we should wrap this up unless you have any other.
I'm just gonna say, like,
thoughts.
the passions are on display here in Oklahoma City right now.
This is the knockout round of the NBA Emirates Cup.
Jesus, I mean, Luka, like, I think Luka's the guy you should call if you need help picking out a cake like that. Holy shit, man! Did you see this?
Hey, I do want to say if
it doesn't play this year,
I've already done some Googling and I know some places in the neighborhood, but if anybody has like a good bakery for wedding cakes or like a tower of cupcakes, drop them in the comments on the YouTube page or on Spotify or Apple, wherever it is that you get your podcast, and rate, review, and tell a friend while you're there as well. Drew, any other pressing thoughts about Luka's thickness or anything else?
I could get in the gym with Luka and I could help him shed some of these pounds because I mean, dude, that boy thick. Like
thick. That boy is thick.
That guy, dude, I don't know. Like, does he have a girlfriend or a wife? And like, did she get pregnant and he gained the pregnancy weight? What the fuck is going on with him? Like,
sympathy weight, dude. It could be sympathy weight. You don't know.
Dude, he looks like a thumb with a wig on right now. Like, he is. He looks like he weighs as much as Jokic, but like Jokic,
but like 6 inches shorter.
Dude, it's like, man, like I like Luka, but holy crap, man, that he's gonna start wearing like some what is it, Tommy Bahama shirts or something.
Dude, imagine how good that guy could be if he was on like a Giannis or a LeBron regimen as far as his training.
Like, I get it's Dallas, they got barbecue, but like, fuck, man, like,
oh, dude, Terry Black's so good. Oh my god, it's the best barbecue I've ever had. It's so good, Drew. I flew it back to Wisconsin, put it in my carry-on.
For Tupperware on the airplane.
No, it was just wrapped in aluminum foil.
Oh, so it went off the metal detector. You're like, oh, I'm sorry, it's not a bomb. It's a bomb-ass barbecue.
It was wrapped in aluminum foil in a paper bag, stashed in my backpack. I brought back some brisket and the sauce. I brought back the sauce too. It's so good.
Why didn't you just buy sauce and then make your own?
It was really good. And I can smoke a brisket. I'll smoke the shit out of a brisket.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, just get the sauce.
Pulled pork. All right. Well, with that, Drew, I'm hungry now, even though I already had dinner. And like I said, I got to pee. And I want to go watch the rest of that game. So let's wrap this thing up for Drew Flaggy.
Luka looks like he's hungry too.
Drew Flaggy, I'm Ramie Drew. Again, rate, review, subscribe, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and please tell a friend. And we'll talk to you again soon. This has been episode 72 of Ramie and Drew. And we'll talk to you again next time.